Welcome to another Chaos Ascended guide. I'm your host, Dripbreon. Today we're going to be diving into the foundations of your strongest tames, understanding stats. Whether you are a breeder or a fighter, or just looking to maximize your dino's potential, knowing how stats work is key. Let's break it down. So you want to make big dinos like this, and you see that we have a 710 Armadago here. The starting foundation of understanding how to make strong dinos like this is understanding the stat point system. In ARK Survival Ascended, all creatures have allocated stat points to them, determined by a point allocation system. Each stat, whether it's health, stamina, melee, or weight, is assigned a number of points that affects the overall performance of a dino. So if we look at this Troodon here, it is a level 1, so it's got no points assigned across from it. And how you read these tech binoculars is when we're looking at the first set of numbers, that's the calculated value of those stats. So you can see, if we open this up, you can see at 240 as the health, and then you'll see 240 out of 240 on the health bar. The first 0 is its base stat. The second 0 here is its mutated value. And then the third is the player levels applied. So if we put a level into here, you'll see that the level of the dino goes up, but also that number gets adjusted. Now, if we look over here, you'll see that this one has 35, 40, 36, 46, 28, and 39 as its base stats. So you see that this one has a stronger melee in 39, and a strong stamina in 46. But then the rest of the points kind of go all over the board. And if we look at on Chaos Ascended, we have a max level of 300, which results in 450, 449 tames to be able to be spawned. You'll see that they have a higher stat pool allocation as well. What's important to note is that you can combine these stats by breeding these dinos together and just keeping the babies that have the best combination of stats. So in Official, you would worry about min-maxing something. In Unofficial, you don't have to worry about that. And so when talking about these base stats, it's important to really note that these are the stat points that dinos obtain in the wild when they spawn. When you breed these stats, they are inherited by the offspring, allowing you to selectively breed for the best stats possible. Now, when you're reading the second numbers in the brackets, that's when we're talking about mutated stats. And as you can see, none of these Troodons have the numbers at all. But if we go over here and go over to our Armadagos, you can see I'm at 224 on the melee. So you're going to see my base melee on Armadagos down at the bottom is 80 by 24 by, or 224 by 0. That means this Armadago has 112 mutations if I'm doing it right, or doing the math right in my head. And I get that by stacking that up, and you can see that difference that makes because the Armadago has 80 from the wild, and then it's got another 224 combined, which means that this base stat is really at a 304. And then, of course, like we mentioned, we talked about as well just how the leveled stats apply as well. And it's important to note that every dino is able to level up 88 times with player allocated stats, as long as you have the experience for that. The best way to get experience is obviously going into areas that you can get battle, shoulder pets like this Pyromane that you see here. Probably one of the best ways of being able to let me fix that. One of the best ways of being able to level that is either on my shoulder like this while I'm killing stuff on another tame, or just by simply obviously riding the Pyromane is a very effective way of being able to kill stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the best way to kind of be working on those. So now you might be wondering, what's the highest stat number a dino can have? So on official servers, you can't exceed the 150 wild, and then you can't, you also are limited to 225 post tame. But really, when you're talking about unofficial servers, most of them don't use a system to limit the max level, or I guess to refrain that, most of them don't have like a cap to like the stat points that can be utilized, because most unofficial servers don't use the min-max system. And so with that, basically the wild dino itself cannot exceed 450, but a big thing to like note is that each stat point can get up to 254 at a maximum cap. And actually, even like wild dinos, you could potentially take up to 255 if you just got extremely lucky. However, that being said, the probability of that is close to like impossible unless you have your server's levels so ridiculously high that just spawns in the wild. Realistically, since we do have a max level of 300, most of the dinos that you're going to see are going to be in a range of 100 to 130 that are the ones that people are working on, with that being like the top 1% of dino spawns. And most other wild dinos are going to have stats anywhere from the 60s to the 110 range. But with that said, then you can get another 254 on the mutated stats. So this is one thing that kind of like really makes Chaos Ascended really unique, is that we do have a large breeding community. And so like making this guide was just another thing to be able to support those entering into our community, to just be able to understand base stats a little bit more and how they kind of all combine together to make a big dino like my Uties over here. So we do have boosted breeding stats, but it still takes a long time to reach this point. But with a good foundation, you'll be able to understand this a lot further. So definitely drop a like, comment what your favorite dino is to breed, and we'll see you next time in our video where we're going to be covering breeding better base stats and teaching everybody how to basically stat max dinos, and why on Unofficial you just need to stat max instead of worrying about min maxing. So until next time, we'll see you on Chaos Ascended.